Hi, everyone. I am Mr. Biscuit. Yes, I flew all the way from Madrid, Spain, to Novi Sad. I love it here. Love it here. So I am, if you cannot tell, I speak English. And I originally came from Beijing, which is the capital city of China. And it's okay, I don't eat dogs. I'm a vegetarian, and I'm affable. And some of the works that I did is I wrote a lot of plugins, and I wrote 29 plugins, but I published 18 of them, and currently I have 23K active designers using the plugins I created. And I have also been in Config 2021. The talk I gave was titled Pushing Figma to its limits. It's actually beyond its limit slightly. But yeah, and I've also published a open source design system called Indesign open source from Alibaba. And it has been duplicated 100K times by our fellow designers who use Figma. And I've also published a lot of other open source design systems. All of them combined, the duplication amount has reached 174K. So yes. The talk I'm going to talk about today is titled Maximizing the Flexibility of Your Figma Components. And let's first of all see, why do we need to maximize the flexibility of our components, right? What is the problem that we currently have using the component that we already been using? Well, the first question is that as a component consumer yourself, you are limited to a very rigid structure. That means it is very hard to customize what has already been made for you. As using an instance, right? You cannot change or tweak the structure of the instance. The other problem is that as component creators, I was talking about the users, but right now let's talk about the creator, right? You have to be case exhaustive. That means you have to anticipate how your component is going to be used. And that is a hard thing to do. How do I know how my components are going to be used? I mean, all the use cases combined, it is huge, right? And it is very hard to maintain. But if, let's say, you managed to implement all the possibilities into your components using variants, then you will get a very bulky implementation of the component. And it is ugly looking. And you'll probably also have a bunch of hidden layers, which are not really recommended because it confuses your user. And so here is a desperate attempt in trying to achieve more flexibility for this Figma component right here. This is a card. And as you can see, they are already using slot in the content. The same concept as you would have in React.js, right? You use children, this is the slot of it. And you can see on the right-hand side, this panel, right? How many properties they have, right? So you can imagine such a component behind the closed doors must have looked something like this. Yes, this is a single component that I built for Indesign open source, and it's called the table. It's crazy. So yes, the endeavors pay off. It can achieve all of these layouts without a problem. But it cannot achieve any of these layouts. Let's do a comparison, right? So left side, we have our original component designed to be used as a flexible card component. And to the right side, we see the first image on the top left corner it has the image placed in the bottom. And if you look at the component, the original component, right, the image is on top. So how are you going to, that's not achievable. That's impossible. The second image, the second instance, try to have the image on the left, and that is also not achievable because the layout is already set. It is vertical layout. And so the third one, if you cannot see it clearly, the third one on the top right corner, you have a close button that is positioned absolutely, and that is also not possible. So even if you had done so much work putting in this component, there are still use cases that you cannot cover. And what do they do? What do we do as designers? If the use case is not covered, we detach it. And that is the saddest thing to happen in Figma. That means you get this, ultimate freedom, all right, for designers to just empty your mind out. Whatever you think, you can put it down there. And this, once the developers see it, means divs inside of divs inside of div. Why? Because I do not even have a component in the design system that resembles anything close to this. What else can I do? I just have to make shift and write whatever that looks the same as you design. That means your design system starts to fail. One leak, right? That is a huge problem. So on this chart, I was trying to show you the problem that we have between usability and customizability. So on the y-axis is the usability. The higher the usability, that means it's easier to use. It's easy to learn, right? The higher the usability, that means the lower the customizability of your component. This is what we get currently with Figma out of the box, right? So if you go all the way to the top on the y-axis, that means you are basically having a JPEG image that you cannot even customize at all, right? And is that something that we want to use in our design system? Obviously not. So on the other axis, the x-axis, we get the customizability. And so the more customizable your component gets, it also means, sadly, it is less usable. Because, wow, you have tons of, hundreds of layers and hidden layers. Even if you had done everything in property, there is a long list of properties I need to check out, I need to learn, and to be able to use this thing. So yeah, they'll just detach it, So this is the problem currently we have. What is the solution? Well, the solution is simple. You use slots, but not we have to use smarter slots, right? And plus obviously another plugin I wrote called Instance, utils, stands for utility, to help. So let me show you in action. This is our lovely Figma. And so the problem I was talking about, so if you have, let's say, this is right. This is a little small. But if you have like regular components, right? So here's a Twitter screen. If you have regular components, you can see each of these are a tweet instance. And you might think, wow, this is really well made. I have like a very well-defined structure. I have a divider, I have a container. Inside of the container, here's the site image, profile, and then you got everything on the right that contains the user, the content, the media, and inside the media, there's the image. What is the problem with that? Okay, what if I want to achieve something like this? I want to have 4 images displayed as a grid. Can I do that? Well, you can try. Like you start grabbing the layers and everything. You try to press Command D to duplicate it. Nothing happens. Nothing happens. Why? Because it is nested inside of an instance. And Figma is very strict on instance. Whatever structure you have predefined to your component, and that instantiation of that component, that means this instance is no longer restructurable. The structure is fixed. So what is the solution? Likewise, here we have a dashboard screen, or we call it Kanban. And each one of these columns contains cards. So right now I'm selecting a card, and let's go to the parent of the card. This is the card's parent. And I don't know if you can see, but this card component is made entirely from a slot. But the slot is a smart slot that I created 2 years ago called layout block. And if I drag it out and show you what it looks like, the layout block that I call the smart slot, you will see the difference. So it is just something like this. It gives you 3 vertical slots. But you can also, on the right-hand side, you click on it, and then you can choose whatever, like vertical 6 if I want. And then you got 6 slots vertically. And if I select any one of these slots individually, I can also say, well, probably horizontal 5 or something. I can customize each and every one of these, and then I can tweak the layout. I can say I want a horizontal hug, and then you can start filling in any one of these slots, and you can customize it further. It is infinitely tweakable. So since each one of these slots, I don't know if you can see, they are a diamond shape. That means that they are instances, so that you can swap them with any instance that you want. For example, an icon, why not anything? You can swap it. And then, so if this is how I made the card components. And so right now, I don't have any hidden layer inside of there. You can see now we're down to the molecules. We're down to the leaf of these layer structure. And there's no image. But what if I want to add an image at this point? Let's instantiate it. Now this is an instance of this card component. Let me go to the card component so you can see it is indeed a child or a instantiation of that. And then if I want to add an image, I simply say that I want to have vertical by 4 slots. And yeah, something happened here that isn't supposed to. This is Adobe in the work. They ruined Figma a little bit. They're supposed to, this, I don't know. But hey, I've got a solution. This is why I wrote instance utils, just to prevent something like this happen in the future. So if I select the instance that I want to copy, I hit copy, and then I just go and paste it like this. And the layout is also wrong, because right here in the width on the right-hand side, you can see that it is saying that it is filling the container horizontally, but it is lying. It is not really filling it. So I had to write another plugin called Pro Layout Panel. And you can see that it is actually set on the hug. So if I right now click on with fill, that's the real fill we get. And Figma panel is oblivious of the change. It is saying, oh, nothing changed. But yeah, same for this one. Say horizontal fill. And then you got an extra slot. What do you do with that? Well, you use instance utils to move it to the top. There's arrows that you can click. 1, 2, goes to the top. And annoying things, I have to fix it up again. And so right now I have an extra slot on the top. What do I do with that? I swap it with an image. Well, anything that I want. And then I can also change the aspect ratio. Let's say probably 3:4 is too large. Let's say 16 by 10, something like that. And you can place image right here, right? Real image. Let me just grab some image if I have them. Or just this avatar will do. It's just to show you. Yep. Something like this, right? And it is also responsive, you see? So is this, you would ask in your head, is this still the same component instance with these right here? Well, if I go to the main component, then you can see it is. Nothing is detached. It has all the benefits of the main component. The component can do hovering, so if I say hovering, you can see the effect, and you can also see the bug of the layout. I have to fix that, but just for presentation issues, Adobe. And I can also say Figma style and everything. So yeah. Wow, this looks really bad. Let me fix it. Yeah. There we go. And that's why, I built another plugin. So all of these are the same. So if I want to have this image on the left, that is very easy to do, right? Because the entire card is made out of a slat. So that means that you can go in, and instead of vertical by 2, you can say horizontal by 2, and you get this. And it is also saying that it is filling the horizontal space, which is not. I have to do that again. This is really filling, and you see, I think I don't have to do anything else to prove that you can do whatever you want right here with this technique, right? So what is the benefit of this? Why can't I just create different components? Well, because take a look at the similarities of this card and this card. The only difference is the image. Well, do you want to create and maintain another set of components just for that? Probably not, because they're very similar. And why don't I use hidden layers? Well, because for hidden layers, you cannot achieve horizontal layouts like this. Well, let me copy something in so you can get a better sense of what I mean. So if I want this image to go to the left and have both of these filling the horizontal, it is going to look something like this and like that. Let's fix it. With a hidden layer, you cannot do that. So that's why. And also, hidden layers actually impact performance a lot. Yes, so let's go back to our slides. This is Instance Utils, the plugin that I made, just for tweaking instance all you want, breaking the limit of Figma. It doesn't allow you to tweak instance, but I think we need to be able to tweak instance. And it makes working with instance just like working with regular frames, not much different. And it is 100% native workflow. What does it mean? It means that everything that Instance Utils help you achieve, you can achieve it yourself. Don't believe me? Well, let's go back. Yeah, so the plugin is not doing anything cheeky-breaky. You can just do that yourself. Let's say that on the left I have an image, on the right I have some text. While using the plugin, I can just with one click of a button, I can already transfer them over. But what is going on under the hood? Let me show you what happens. So on the left side, I know that I have an image, so I need to change the right side to the image if I want to swap them. But I need to remember this, just not to lose the content and overwrite. So now I can swap the right portion to the image. And then I can, I know that this is made up of a vertical by 2 grid. And I can go to the left side and say vertical by 2. That's what I want. And then remove the fill. And then I know that this one is a text on top. This one is a paragraph on the bottom. And so I go in and I swap it with a title, text title. And this one is a text paragraph. You see, you can do everything by hand. So this is exactly what instance utils is help you achieving. Nothing magical, yeah, but it looks magical because it is doing it much faster than doing it by hand, right? And let's just fix it a bit. If you have a table like this, that is going to work magic because this is already, let's see, this is already an instance of the table, and I have packed in a lot of useful stuff. For example, you can tweak the number of columns, the number of rows, and appearance and everything. I don't want to detach this valuable table. Well, then how can I say swap this column right here to the left or to the right? Well, instance utils is here to help because this is the task that we do every day. I just want to make it faster. This is a free plugin, instance utils, by the way. And let's say move it to the left, and you can see exactly how it is working in progress. It swaps everything. It remembers all the overrides, and it swaps it. Let's do it again. That looks cool. And you can also, let's say that if I want to make the first row down to the bottom, I can select these two rows and hit swap. It is going to do the swap, and that's done. So yeah, on a table, I think it's very useful, and also I think any component that you've done, if it is detached, then it is of no value because if say I detach this card, well, before I detach this card, you can see that it has all the, you just ignore the bugs, right? It has all the precious overrides or properties that I can use, right? But then if I detach it, it's gone. It's just a regular frame. You're just essentially copy-pasting frames is what you're doing. You're not even using a design system. So let's go back to our slides. And so long ago, Joy Banks tweeted this tweet. He said, there are two types of designers. Both are okay. On the top, you have designers that do everything, groups within groups within groups, no logic. Well, somebody came from an Illustrator background will definitely do something resembles to that one. But you also have the second type on the bottom that adheres closer to the guidelines and do everything more logical, structural. And someone replied to the tweet. They said, I'm the third type. I'm an auto layout freak. I'm a freak, auto layout freak. Everything you see in the layer tree is auto layout. I replied to Joy Banks again. I said, I'm the fourth type. You can see in the layer tree, everything is an instance. Well, it is obviously built upon auto layout. All of these diamonds you see in the entire layer tree, they are obviously auto layout components turned into instance, except the leaf level where we have the text. That is the real DOM structure, and everything else is componentized. So what are the takeaways of this talk? First of all, if you really want to make your design system flexible enough to be never detached again, you have to make everything into a component. Why? That is because Figma only allows instance to be swapped, right? If it is a regular frame or anything, any other type, a rectangle group, you cannot do anything with it. So, and that also gives you the idea of why you need to implement 100% pure instance running from the entire layer tree to the bottom. And mutable slots, that is what I showed you. It's just, the layout blocks is just in my Indesign open source library, so you can duplicate and see for yourself how it works. The ins and outs, I have documented the thing with clarity. So mutable slots inside of every component that needs flexibility. Some of them doesn't need flexibility, so they can remain simple. But for those that does, for example, like tables and cards, and a lot of headers and a lot of stuff, they really need flexibility. For those, you need to give the mutable slots. And also, you have dedicated subcomponents for your slots. If you do not have subcomponents for the slot, your designers are simply not going to know what should I be placing in the slot in the first place. And you also, so all of these come down to the fact that let designers do the design. We do not want to limit their ability to design. They're not just, moving bricks. They're designers, right? So give back the freedom of design. And also, this will make your entire design file much closer to the actual code implementation in the front end. Front-end developers will say thank you. Thank you, guys.
I don't see any hands. Okay.
Sorry, I haven't heard from you until today, so it was a great speech.
It's okay.
You said, so my question for you would be, what was your first plugin you made in your experience?
Huh?
Just repeat the question for the live stream.
Oh, they didn't hear. Okay. So she asked, what is the first ever plugin I made for Figma? So I'm going to answer this question with a hands-on illustration. Who doesn't like hands-on illustrations, right? So currently, let's say that you are just makeshifting some design, and you are not really down to the point where you need to make them componentized or even use auto layout. You're just experimenting, right? And then say you have 3 nodes, and then you want to place them to the right by a certain pixel apart. If you use Figma's original functionality, they're just going to be placed to the left. Let's say I want them to be 40 pixels apart. They go to the left. That's not what I want. I want them to be spaced to the right. So the first ever plugin that I made for Figma is called Butter. This is a exact same plugin that I use all the time in Sketch. So the first day that I come to Figma, I'm in complete misery without this. So I can just simply choose space selection to the right, and then say 40 pixels, I hit enter, that's it. Very simple, but very effective. That is the first ever plugin that I made for Figma. Thank you, thank you.
I have one.
Sure, please, please.
Great presentation. And have you ever thought about making a plugin for handoff, something that will mimic abstract collections? I will buy it.
Handoff, abstract collection.
Yes, something that could group, things that are changed on some branch.
Huh. I've never thought about that, but it is a good idea. But actually,
it's yours.
Actually,
Repeat the question, please.
oh wow. So he said, can I, if I remember it correctly, can I make a plugin that helps the export process to, sorry?
It's not an export, it's a handoff.
Handoff, yes, to make the handoff easier and retain the structure of the design.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's another tool for that. So that's the reason why it's called Plasmic. You guys can check it out. I'm very big on that tool. If Figma is completely ruined by Adobe, let's say one day, I'm gonna transfer to Plasmic, and if the work is already done, they're trying to let me join them, but they say that they don't have enough money to pay me right now because they don't have enough user. But yeah, if there's something out there I would try to avoid making it my own plugin because they also have a plugin. Plasmic, they allow you to simply copy your Figma design and then paste it over. Let me show you guys. So let's say this is the crappy design that I got, and this is the Figma to code by Plasmic, and they only have one button on this plugin. You cannot miss it. And you click this only one button, and then it is done. You can paste it to Plasmic. Let me create a new project here over in Plasmic. This thing is built on HTML and CSS and JavaScript, so it is not running on Canvas. It utilizes leading, cutting-edge technology that we have today, like Next.js, Vue, and cloud database, that kind of stuff. And I just hit paste, okay? And there we go. I don't know where the image had gone, but I think I used some black magic for the image. That's why it didn't paste over. But regularly it should. Let me show you the black magic. So this image actually consists of two rotated auto layout in order to retain the aspect ratio. But this is not something that they thought anyone would make. So, but minus that, then you have a perfect design right here. I should have actually made a better example, but yeah. So this is actually code. This is what you see right here. They don't even export. This is already HTML code. These are DOM, and you can essentially what you do is that you open VS Code and use the Plasmic CLI to say Plasmic sync and paste over the project ID. You already have a working website. So this actually gives you better flexibility than Figma sites because Plasmic allows you to use any NPM package out of the box. You can just import the NPM package, and for example, I imported Indesign for them, and also Chakra UI, but right now only Indesign was was passed. So let me show you some Indesign components. These are authentic code components, right? So I can, as you can see, like I can expand the header, right, and close it, it uses slots, as you can see in the layer tree. So that means that I can have multiple panels by simply duplicating it. And then I can also edit the contents inside of it. And then you get this working like this. So everything that you have over at NPM, you can import those, whether they're using TypeScript or JavaScript or whatever. But React components will be the best. So I'm also importing Chakra UI to Plasmic. I've also made a lot of tutorial videos on YouTube. You guys can find me at MrBiscuit.design. It is also built by Plasmic. Yes. So I'm not sure, does that answer your question? Okay, thank you.